ban for you. Rogue are still within a position to make it to Rio, which by extension means that you make it to the Invitational in Montreal in February. In order to do this, Rogue needs to win. If they draw, they don't make it. If they lose, they don't make it. It needs to be a victory for Rogue. Now, if you're Obey, you can do two things with a victory. Number one, you play spoiler to Rogue. You knock Rogue out from being able to go to Rio. You end Easley's very impressive streak of making it to almost every single land that's existed in this game. And you also knock Noble, guaranteed to be relegated. So remember what we said in the previous matchup about how you have to watch and you're at the mercy of the other teams?
Yeah.
Right now, Noble is Rogue's biggest fan, and SK is Obey's biggest fan. Now, Villa is banned, which means that we're not going to see Villa, which means that we're going to have a new map for you today, which is going to be exciting. So Oregon and Bank are the first two bans, which leaves Clubhouse, Coastline, and Consulate. So it will be a C map. Coastline is gone, and Consulate Clubhouse.
Clubhouse banned from Obey. Rogue pretty darn good at that. Their Consulate is also pretty darn effective. So there you go. Clubhouse is going to get removed. We're going to play on Consulate. So it's a big change. Consulate, not a map that we've seen too much of compared to if we look back at Season 7, Season 6 before this. So it's interesting to see a map that has been played so much in the past be brought back up again so we can see what has changed with the operators that are available. Now, obviously, this gets played outside of Pro League. I mean, there's so many tournaments currently that you get to see this almost every day.
Yes.
But I want to see how these two teams adapt, because operator bans have been very interesting to see on this map, and I'm really interested in seeing how things went out here.
So we'll bring up the community vote for you, and a couple things to note. Number one, it appears that Kenz is stepping in for Benji today, making his return to the competitive scene. He's their coach, so clearly they think that there's something that needs to be changed. So OG Kenz, as you know him, the coach of Obey, he's going to be coming in today in place of Benji. That's first and foremost. Rogue winning the community vote, 67 to 28%. Number two, we're going to be playing on Consulate. Well, would you look at that? It just so happened to be the map upon which these two teams played in week number 3. It ended in a draw, as we said.
That was the week of draws, actually.
It's the week of draws. 3 of the 4 matches ended up being a draw. The only definitive result was SK defeating EG, and well, the rematch went very much in favor of EG if you just turned into that third match that we concluded just a couple moments ago. So, for Rogue Obey, week 3, Consulate was a draw. That was also Benji still fitting into the mold. He'd only played 2 matches. That was his second match, as Gurmy had started things off with Obey for the first match. Benji coming in, replacing Gurmy, and there was a brief uptick in Obey's success. So it'll be interesting to see what Kenz is capable of doing on this roster here.
Yeah, there we go. Capitao is going to get banned out. I've seen a lot of console chamber plays.
I want to say Maman usually plays the Capitao, if I recall correctly.
Capitao is a pretty darn strong operator. Now, the Lion's available because Buck is going to get banned, which is pretty interesting.
Incredibly bizarre in terms of having both them banned at the same time.
Yeah. Maestro removed. I don't know if Mira's going to actually be a ban from Rogue.
Consulate is one of the few maps where she typically tends to be open here. Now, Rogue banning the Capitao makes sense. He's an integral part of a number of Obey's strats as well. Obey as well.
Valkyrie.
Saw how much, exactly, Valkyrie could potentially be banned. It would leave open IQ. It's going to be Pulse. Rogue banning Pulse. So conventional bans being tipped on their head, and we're going to be treated to what might be one of the first Buck bans that I've ever seen. But also keep in mind, we saw Shuttle run rough sod last week over Mouse with a Buck, if I recall correctly. And we know that Buck is a big part of Rogue's play. So losing the Buck, smart pick from Obey. But it also means that Skies or Maman won't be running that Buck role, which we've seen a couple times. We'll likely put Maman on Zofia or on IQ with Bosco on Zofia and Skies on Lion. Well, would you look at that? Onto a Thatcher instead. So we've seen a lot of, there's a lot of role changes here from Obey.
I like this. My man on the IQ. Something that I've talked about before, and hopefully I'll stop talking about it. That Skies on the IQ, always looking more for kills than actual usage of the utility, as last week in the 6-0 loss from Obey Alliance, it all came down to not being able to deal with the yokai drone. where the IQ is just sitting so far away, holding an angle for the final rotation from the defenders. Here, that will be put on my man. And I hope that in this case, there'll actually be more consistent usage of the operator utilities. Of course, Echo is available, won't be played here. Eclipse is going for the Mira play early on, which signifies that we'll have more of a hold here in the printer room and next to it to deal with admin, slowing down the attack from Obey. Now, you don't always put a lot of your operators on the admin side because you're expecting maybe to get 1 or 2 picks. One is already pretty good, and then you fall back, you peel off, but make sure that the attackers are fighting for every single inch of the map. Obey might be looking for a push through there, or they might completely forego it and attack from the opposite end of the map, realizing that there's a lot of utility that's been preset from Rogue on there. There is no Legion for them to deal with if they want to attack up yellow stairs, so that makes their lives a bit easier. The Thermite pick is always something because you're not sure which site's going to be played, so it's kind of a comfort one, but Zofia lends a lot to their attack.
So there's always utility in spades for Obey. The one criticism has always been how they get applied, and well, that's a swing and a miss. 1 EMP that doesn't quite land. Skies will have to try that one again, as it does a good job of blowing out any gadgetry that might be down and near the main lobby.
I guess. Well, Skies...
if there's anything there.
If there is anything.
If there's anything there. But repelling upwards, this is the way you're going to try to take control as admin. And I mean, you look and that's not what we're seeing right now. In fact, in atypical fashion, you've seen almost no pressure from admin whatsoever.
Why is the Mira all the way down in lockers with the pulse? What?
This is intriguing to see what exactly is going to happen. And the mute is all the way down in basement as well. 3 members of Rogue downstairs in the basement, and now Shuttle's going to get caught out playing on yellow stairs. He's going to go for an ADS juggle, presuming that he's going to get pressured, and it might be a joint run out from Rogue, actually. But I'm very, very confused as to what we're seeing here. Unless they're playing an Iron Man strat, now Eclipse and Super have got back to the main lobby, and well, Shuttle's going to get pushed, and he's all gone. So they know that they've lost control of yellow stairs. That information will likely be relayed to the 3 flankers that we see from Rogue.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Eclipse on the Mirror will have to go back up the site to protect it from theirs. Of course, it's a very smart decision being taken from Obey here. They realize, okay, there's so many reinforcements that have been preset to slow us down, and admin will attack from the opposite end, and Skies, what a shot, takes Super out, and the second one easily down on the floor. Skies finding the kills, but it's Eclipse for the refrag on Bosco. Slash moving in, as he'll get one, and he'll get the second one as well. My man to turn it into a 2v1, but it's definitely a possibility for Slash. As the diffuser is right in front of him, the Mira will be used against him. See both the IQ and the Thatcher trying to move in from the opposite end. You're by the connector room. He peeks up with the SMG-11. They tie up right in front of him, and Slash will clutch the round. The SMG-11, just enough rounds in the magazine to finish off both, and they line up perfectly for the smoke.
The amount of clutches that we have seen from Slash, oh my word. I don't ever underestimate Slash. He is so criminally underrated as a player as of late because other members of Rogue have done a great job of being able to pick up the pieces. Oh, man.
That really has to hurt. Really has to hurt there. The advantage being fully in the hands of Obey Alliance. And there we see the 4K from Slash as Eclipse had got one before. Skies' fragging ability definitely showing in that round on the Thatcher, even with the EMP miss, of course. Valkyrie will get played again here as Super moving off the Echo into it, and Skies on the Thatcher for the last second, 6th pick. We'll be going through pretty much the same operator lineup as we had before, as this time it'll be a defense and garage, and this is definitely the site where the Mira will shine a lot more than other positions. I wonder if both windows will be used down in the garage, or there'll be one of them to support the mute in bathroom. That has been a strategy that has worked out pretty darn well. You can set him up and pretty much lock him in a bunker where he can shut down a lot of utility at least before falling back down on the site. But we'll see the hatches be reinforced, so that strategy will be out of play, and both mirror windows are set up downstairs. There you go. Both hatches have been reinforced. Thank you very much, Marcio. Everything shown on point. And we'll see the mirror. Will it be a halfsies? It takes a while to find the correct angle, and there you go. Easily is going to go for a 50-50 mirror window, and it is possible to do this. It's very complicated to do it. It takes a while, but because you're on defense in your garage, you're pretty much going to be uncontested. It's a pretty good spot to go safely and set up for that kind of defense.
Yeah, so here we go. Obey had everything in their favor to win that round. They had the mirror window going. They could have possibly had one body go, but they decided to peek and push at the same time. Not really an issue with utility, just more so timing and teamwork that really came out at play there. And once again, Slash with an incredible clutch that we saw him do a couple times, especially in the matchup against C9 just a few weeks ago. And he's done it, I mean, he did it in Paris against Secret. He's done it against almost every single team, and you can talk to a lot of the North American veterans who have been around for a while and played against all the teams that he has competed on. That consistency is not an issue for Slashug whatsoever. So, as I said, sometimes gets overlooked due to the fact that Rogue has picked up other players who have seen the spotlight shine quite brightly on them, and it's funny, the pendulum will swing both ways. You go from being heralded as one of the most consistent players and then down to somebody who often goes quiet. So, anywho. Now, speaking of somebody who has seen quite a bit of their stock rise as of late, Shuttle, who's been able to play quite well on defense as well as on attack, is going to be bandit tricking in with a C4 to possibly take out anybody inside of Piano, which with no buck on the board is a little bit of a different story for Obey to be able to get control.
I mean, the buck combos very well with this sort of, well, the buck ban combos very well with the ban, with the defense downstairs in garage, but also upstairs as we saw in CEO, where he can't just control from Skylight and push his opponents on yellow stairs, but the C4 will connect, and there you go. That's Bosco out of play. The Zofia removed, so disrupting the defenders before running into the site for a plant will be a lot more complicated here, as Adam on the support will go in and thermite the second side of the wall. Everything is being watched in the meantime behind the mirror windows. Very much safe here behind their positions, the smoke and the mirror is vulnerable.
Still a lot of roamers off-site for Rogue right now. Skies, who's continuing on to just bully his opposition. He'll pick up a big kill on the Shuttle and then takes the Bandit out, who'd done so well to try and stall that garage while also using the C4, taking out Bosco, playing above and alleviating some concerns onto Rogue. But plant going down in front of White Van. Slash will expend all those toxic canisters. Oh, he'll get a nice down and finished off as they're super able to join in. And Slash picking up one onto Ken's. Easily almost credited for that. Eclipse coming back on, and man, Rogue setting themselves up now for 2 retakes, and the only member of Obey left is Adam, and he doesn't have an ACOG to play this angle. That's a rare instance to not be able to have that long range working in your favor. No ACOGs available to Rogue, so it's just simply going to be about possibly going with this low magnification. Eclipse trying to waste time, as you can see the defuse is being worked on, and Adam will get a kill, but the diffuser won't be stopped, and they're just going to waste time. Down goes Adam, and Rogue will take 2 in a row. Obey just not able to determine the location of Eclipse, who has been routinely roaming, and that has been their downfall now 2 rounds in a row.
It's unfortunate for Obey, as their early executions have been working well. They're securing the beachhead that is required for a plant. They set the plant down and they lose the manpower that's required for the defense. That's not just because they've been making a mistake here or there, it's just because Rogue also have been hitting their shots, and yet again, Slash's smoke has done quite a bit of damage and somehow able to survive, yet still get information. Now, not just the half-Z's mirror window that was set up in the cafeteria, but also the fact that there was more information being relayed from his teammates back onto him, and able to use that to his advantage. So communication on Rogue's end definitely in shape, allowing him to shine in these positions as well. And of course, with 1 player left alive at the end, even though he's playing from the outside, it's very easy in a 4v1 to kind of clean it up and finish it out, especially with the vertical play. But here, we'll see Rogue playing on the lobby. So we'll see how this one is set up. They won't be bringing the Mira on this site, but they'll be reinforcing a couple of the walls from the back and using their mute jammers from Super to slow things down. So potential plays from Skies with the Habana from the back not going to be available. As you've seen this, even with a team, for example, we'll mention just because APAC was last weekend with Norengu, who will bring the Supernova sometimes on the Habana and open up the back wall to attack onto the site. There's many ways to do it, some ingenious ways that we have not seen too often. But again, it's all a moldable strategy, and you see Rogue playing from the top side of admin, trying to slow Obey down, as you still need that top floor control before the execution.
Yeah, and I mean, the control has been there for Obey in and around the site, but they just haven't been able to get those peripheral rooms into their, you know, their, I don't even know how to call it, just they need to have that information at hand. They need to be able to see it, and it's like they keep letting it slip through their fingers. I don't know what's going on. I mean, Obey has not always been the team that has looked the most well coordinated. They have always had issues being able to put 2 and 2 together, and it's really hurt them, especially as we've said before with their gadgetry usage, and it's been almost puzzling seeing it happen for a team that really has much more potential, similar to C9. I think those are complaints shared with Cloud9. But for Rogue to be able to keep 2 bodies so far off site that you can't even immediately determine where they are from a quick look at the overhead, that's pretty weird that Obey is letting that come back to beat them.
Yeah, and I think you could summarize the entire story of Obey throughout the season is they have the advantage, just somehow not able to get the finisher at the end of the round. And, you know, obviously compounding those will net you losses, but here, this Obey will start off well as the first kill will come the way of the IQ shuttle. Oh, what a shot! Finds the head of Bosco right on the window before he comes in, and they trade off the Jaeger for the Zofia. A very good trade here for Rogue.
And now they're primed and ready to greet anybody who comes in through the rest of admin. Shuttle putting in all that work himself using the bulletproof camera that had been set up, just watching and seeing a rappel on the window, not expecting somebody to be playing up there. And now Obey is going to scramble to adjust. 3 rounds in, and every single time Obey has done no shortage of work to get that first opening pick. But it's been Rogue who's been able to bounce back quite well, and well, there's not a lot of time left for Obey to be able to pull this off. They still don't have control of that second floor. Kenz is down below trying to get a plant off all on his own, trying to waste time of this smoke of Slash, who has the entire floor carved open. He's going to just narrowly miss a flashbang and use yet another toxic canister as Skies tries to open things up and really be able to get at Slash. But right now, Slash will drop, and he sees the IQ, cannot connect, and he's just going to be at the mercy of that recoil.
And Adam at least will get dropped here. And Super will finish off Ken's, so the advantage going the way of Rogue with only Skies and my man left alive. 13 seconds on the clock, and execution very slow from Obey as Eclipse is ready on the opposite end. He'll set up a glue mine as well just to slow things down. He'll find one of them. That's my man on the floor. Skies tries to go in and Slash gets the finisher, and Adam and Skies will jump in. Not enough time left, unfortunately, with a glue mine in the foot. And that'll be the round going the way of Rogue again. I think Obey, there was 50 seconds left on the clock, and they had still not even pressured the Smoke, who had 3 canisters to play with. The Habana of Skies not using his equipment correctly. Like, you're expecting the same pressure that you would see when you attack the console chambers, which is push the Smoke out of projector, and then use one of your Skyro sets to push him away. You can shoot him, you can put him in a cramped position, or at least force him out of the site by dropping the hatch. Unfortunately, it took too long, and by that point, map control was still in the hands of Rogue, and they were able to keep the Legion alive for as long as possible. Goo mines were set up here and there. Information was being gathered, relayed. Obey slowed down. They need and they rely on their fast executions. All of that compounds to a round victory for Rogue, and that's the 3rd one in a row. We head to round 4. We'll see how they play this one here, as we'll see easily on the Echo.
So, full site rotation gone, and we'll head right back up top. We'll see if Rogue does that wonky Mira Castle mute setup downstairs again, but I mean, as you look, Rogue is going to be running a composition that seems a little bit better suited, and I wonder how much of that was Rogue stress testing Obey. It's a bold choice to bring Kenz in for Benji, and I know that Benji doesn't really have the flashiest role, as we got a spawn peek lined up from easily here and see if he can connect, but, well, would you look at that? Survey says, nope, there's nobody up there, so easily just watching in vain, but Still, you tried. Here's one thing that's different immediately. Obey is going to take admin. Last time they lined up on console, they tried to take control of yellow stairs. That was their primary focus, and now admin is typically the way to go. And a lot of teams, the way they'll defend console offices, they don't bother to put any bodies or really any emphasis on console, except when we might see a Mira and a Mute playing inside of that one little closet that's just ahead of Bosco to his right. But that's not in play. As you can see, Rogue is not running a Mira, though they do have the Mute available.
Yeah, Rogue just have obviously the ability to choose however they would like to play it, and this time with the Echo being put in play, they're going to put more emphasis on shutting down the plant than actually contesting it and contesting the move inside of the building. So it's just a different way of playing it, but still for Obey it comes down to the same way of executing. Take admin, push the smoke away, and then try to execute for a plant playing inside of the A site. You know, you still have to have hold on the rotations from the balcony to look down and make sure that there's nobody coming in from that connector room. And Skies in the meantime will come from the side. You need Adam to come in with the Hibana and open up the back, but the grenade here from Skies might be just perfect to push the smoke away. But no, there's an ADS ready, and Adam though will find the kill on Super, take down the Valkyrie, and 1 C4 off the board.
And that's opening kill yet again for Obey. They've been able to give themselves an advantage and stretch it out, but after that, everything seems to fall apart, and it's Rogue doing so well in the mid-round to be able to keep Obey at bay. My man will pick up a second kill for his team as that shuttle falling, and now you're going to see both Slash and Easily watching the top of the Visa stairs to see if somebody bothers to peek in. On the camera downstairs, though, one attacker will be spotted, and they know it's going to be a Visa push. A bit of a fire comes in here onto the sledge of Skies as he manages to evade the shots from the Echo, and now Easily is going to reposition and stare all the way over towards Connector. A C4 will miss, so Rogue will need to do its best to try and get back to sight. Adam on flank watch downstairs will miss Eclipse, and now Skies playing with fire as he's going to walk in. He's going to take out Easily, but get downed by Slash. Diffuser goes down, and this is the best opportunity that we've seen out of Obey so far. Kenz pulls out the pistol, eliminates Eclipse. The pistol on the Jackal. All right, well, now I've seen everything. Slash, last one up, and he's going to get sprayed down by Bosco, and finally Obey is able to put a round on the board. It was a good round for them overall, but odd pacing nonetheless.
That was the good way of attacking. They did everything perfectly, and they got the picks to play off of it. Adam gets the first kill on the Hibana, forces at least the smoke off of the A site, drops down, will have to fight his way back up. In the meantime, the site is in control of Obey. They waste no time going in for a plant, and then they hold for the final bit. Knowing that they have the manpower advantage, no runouts are possible to take down the repeller on the balcony on the outside, and you can just watch all the way down to yellow stairs. One of the potential rotations shut down, all in their way. Exactly how you should be executing it, and I hope that this changes things moving forward in this map. We'll go down to Garage again, and we'll see how Rogue set this one up. Maybe they'll change things around, but they're running pretty much the same setup and operators that we had before. The only difference is that now we don't have the Mute to replay it in combo with the Bandit, and maybe we'll be seeing the same. Oh no, there you go. We're gonna bring the Mute. There you go. So no real change from Rogue. I think they're very comfortable with the setup that they had brought. And we'll see if Obey can use the IQ correctly here to shut down the utility really as soon as possible. They're not going to go for the 50-50 mirror one, though.
One thing that you've got to give credit to Eclipse for is, I don't know how many of his jammers have been doing it at the onset, but they've been strategically positioned, especially on Garage, and we got to see this when Adam very quickly flipped through a couple cameras there last time. It's shutting down as much information gathering as you can possibly get out of Obey. Now, whether Obey is able to gather that information and disseminate it correctly is a topic for another day. But in this matchup in particular, losing that information already puts them at a huge disadvantage. Given how loose Rogue's roamers have been, and he started out with roamers being very far off site in ways that seemed to be illogical, but they ended up working out as Rogue has gotten a little bit tighter overall with their play over the last couple rounds. I would imagine that these Mute jammers are probably doing an excellent job, maybe not on Garage, but in general, of cutting off as much information as possible. We've seen a number of teams do it. I think one of the first matches I ever watched of Penta, now known as G2, I think one of the first matches I ever watched of theirs was they used the mute jammers almost exclusively upstairs, specifically so that they could roam 3 bodies upstairs on Consulate while defending another site. And I mean, it works out quite well.
Was that the Falco times?
No, that wasn't actually.
Ah,
that was not.
Interesting.
It wasn't, okay, it wasn't the first time I watched them as a team, but it was my first match that I casted, one of my first matches that I casted of theirs.
Ah, so that's definitely after it.
Yes.
Okay. So you mentioned it, but this is, of course, a great site to play on if you're a mute. Why? You already see the drone being shut down from Bosco because you can have a mute jammer that is set up on the workshop and it completely, or the workbench, and it shuts down pretty much half of this yellow stairs. Information gathering will be very complicated to deal with, and obviously you can set one up by the drone hole. It makes things very complicated for Obey on the attack. They can't have any information as they walk into the site. They might have to face check moving into the site.
Yeah, I mean, going in blind is always very difficult, and right now you can see that it's been a bit of a slower pace for Obey to be able to get these panels, but they'll get them open eventually. Adam will get panels both 1 and 3. Shuttle, who was given a big advantage to his team in taking down Bosco, as you can see, not going to happen this time. In fact, there's no piano control until finally now Bosco's made his way in, but he's done so after those panels were opened. And the big difference is, just a very basic level, you can't sit on top of either pillars or over by the black car and get a C4 up because the door's completely open.
Oh, Sky's almost finding the angle here, and can he get the shots to connect? Eclipse is still alive, at least watching the flank for as long as possible. Gas canisters will get checked in by Slash. Damage will get done, and easily taken down. Adam, though, easily will fall to Bosco as a second and last, actually third. Gas canister will get thrown in. They find the Zofia, and Bosco's down on the floor. The IQ will run in and find Slash to take him out, but Super's still in the back. The MPX to shut down 1. Eclipse with the refrag, and Skies with the 5-7 gets one on Shuttle. It's now a 2v1. Skies from the top floor, the reaching round, trying to find the angle on the diffuser, and there you go. Eclipse will go down. Super will have to face off against Skies, and the greatest 1v1 in the history of Siege, probably. Super moving in, and Skies will win it out on the Ash. And that's Obey to get yet another round on the board. 3-2 advantage still for Rogue. They take their defensive rounds for an advantage, but at least Obey manage to get 2 rounds up on the board.
And an important round. Skies came within a second of not getting the kill on the diffuser on Eclipse downstairs. He was so close, and keeping that one breaching round was all it took. And that was the difference maker. And now you're going to see Obey go on to defense. I'm very curious to see what Kenz is going to be able to do. His contributions as an attacker weren't really there. Now, mind you, we don't get to see the droning all the time. We don't get to hear the comms for droning all the time, but his contributions on the scoreboard were very minimal. We saw the only kill he got, I think, was the pistol kill on Jackal in the post plant upstairs, or as the plant was going down upstairs. And that was really it. Now, Consulate can go either way, depending on the way that we see bans shake out here. Typically, a lot of times, Consulate will end up going in favor of the defense, just simply because, you know, you'll usually have a ban system that will go down where, you know, you'll lose Lion likely, maybe Mav, maybe a Ying, maybe a Glaz, but, you know, usually both the hard breachers are there for the attackers, but a lot of times Mirror will slip through as well, and then you'll have a Maestro or an Echo. And here you go. This is what I was talking about, by the way, the Mirror strategy inside of admin, so just going back to that for a second.
But we had that being played by Rogue in the first round, but it was completely bypassed.
3-2 is as pretty good a split as you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's important for Obey. And it's funny that Obey actually won the 2 more standard rounds against Rogue, whereas they lost the ones, as I said, where Obey was using those wonky 3 bodies, very deep off-site fight for a retake style. And I mean, they executed it very, very well.
Well, at least one thing is for sure right now. If you want kills, there's only one number to call. 6, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 Skies. Because he's the one to get it done. I need to rewatch Blues Brothers, by the way. Remind me of that. Though easily is along the outside reference game on point. As we'll see the default camera being taken out by Easily. There you go. Just running through the standard IQ checklist. And this time, we're seeing Slash on the Ying. It's an operator that he's played in the past fairly effectively, but haven't seen him much on her recently, as Ying usually is an operator that does get banned because you don't want to face the Candelas that are huge bit of disruption to the defense.
We'll harken back to the operator ban image that we saw earlier today, and I mean, she had, what, the 3rd highest ban rate after Glaz and Lion, who Glaz and Lion both dominated the ban rates typically, but you had Ying there in 3rd. So another abnormality is Sky's playing on Alibi. Now, I mean, you put a 3-speed with a good gun in Sky's hand, and he's able to wreak havoc. We just saw it on Ashe, we've seen him do it on Elo, we've seen him do it on Vigil, etc. And IQ as well, but now they're going to do it on Alibi, and flashes will get dumped into connector here, as it looks like at any moment Rogue is just going to snap their fingers and push. Here come the Dokkaebi phone calls. The Ying is up top. Smokes will go off to try and stop a connector push. Kens will get blinded from a Candela, and it's going to be an absolute massacre. Or not. Nobody being able to land their shot. Slashuk dumping a ton of magazine all the way in. Planter goes off. So Rogue is diffuser down with every body still present, awaiting a possible jump out onto the balcony as Adam is the very first casualty. Super is in a power position here. Eclipse picks up his 2nd kill. Ken's very low on HP and easily will jump into the fray as well. Slash goes down for Rogue, but oh, it's on lockout as Super and Eclipse will grab the last 2, and Rogue executes quite swiftly. Look at how close they come to blows there, and Rogue up 4-2.
Yeah, I was pretty much trying to give him a kiss there at the end. Fortunately, the kiss of death was the one that was dealt. And so 4-2 up here on Rogue. And we'll see if they can execute this attack yet again, as Cafeteria Garage will be the site to be played. I have to ask you the question here, Parker. Do you think that so far in these 6 rounds, not having Benji on the squad for this playdate is affecting Obey? Or what do you think?
I mean, I think it's an act of desperation to sub out an active player. No matter how bad you might think they've been playing, do or die, Kens does not have a whole lot of competitive experience at this level, especially not recently. Yes, he might be somebody who is smart. I mean, this is speculation as well. It could be that maybe Benji was just unable to play and they had to roll with Kens. No. I actually didn't see or hear anything, unless I'm unable to check the internet correctly. I didn't see nor hear anything about Kens subbing in, so I'm not entirely certain if it was a deliberate choice or one that was made last minute. But it's very difficult to put somebody in and expect them to immediately pay dividends unless they're a superstar. And Kens might be a great player. Kens might be somebody who's made an impact before. But I don't think it's worthwhile necessarily, unless something is very wrong with Benji as a player.
10 seconds left.
I don't think that, you know, I don't think it's a strategy worth doing to sub somebody out so last minute. And I mean, not that Kens can't hang, but it's very rare for us to see somebody who hasn't been in Pro League before, or hasn't been in Pro League in quite a while, or hasn't competed recently, come in and make an immediate impact. It's very tough.
Especially in a match as important as this one, I guess.
I mean, even look at Falco coming over to Millennium in the Paris Major. Falco is somebody who's been able to play well at a top level. He hasn't looked like he's been completely lost, but he comes in and his impact is not as much as you'd expect.
Yeah, I mean, in that specific example, it kind of meshed fairly well with the squad. Not sure why, actually. It was kind of a conundrum at the Paris Major. But still, I mean, you're not expecting that sort of play to really change things up here. But that aside, Zofia will come in, and with the breaching charges, will open up one side. My man trying to find the angle on Shuttle, and there you go. A lot of damage done to the Dokkaebi. Holding my man to have to fall back into connector room as Eclipse holding the rotation here in the spiral staircase. Won't find anyone just yet. He obviously does not have the Claymore to set up here on the side, just in case there's a flank being prepared by my man. But the goo mine is already set and will get spotted by Eclipse very good here. Super will drone his teammate in. Of course, the extra engagement will make sure that they have tabs and information on the player in the back, as it has a proximity fuse. And here we go. The headshot. My man is down, and Eclipse again takes down Skies, and 2 for here. Both the Legion and the Valkyrie out of play.
What a connecting shot that was. Being able to just transfer over right onto the second body, huge for his team, and I think that's pretty satisfactory for the rest of Rogue. The only person at any point in Rogue who faced any certain danger was Shuttle, who's going to get reset and picked back up, so the 50 HP will come back on the board for the Dokkaebi, and you lose a C4, you lose the impact grenades, you lose the Legion. That is really tough for Obey. I mean, keep in mind, this is obviously not going to be a garage push. You're seeing Rogue be able to test their limits, possibly going in through server or even just going all the way in through yellow stairs. Finally, they do manage to get over to garage. So, hey, they might be able to open up that garage door and alleviate some of the defense from being able to keep Rogue down.
Yeah, if you say so.
Well, I mean, they're gonna open it up, and Super's all on his lonesome.
But Easy's holding the back as well, so at least that rotation is shut down at the same time. Obviously, a Rogue utilizing the fact that they are 2 players up, that is a huge boon, but there's not a ton of time at this point, and damage done to Eclipse and finished off by Adam to connect here, but he's found very quickly by Easily, who will get the second one as well. And Kins, last alive is Bosco on the smoke. Headshot onto Easily, but he has the mirror window to play with 1 more canister in, but unfortunately, that diffuser's already been set, and the call has come in from the Dokkaebi shuttle. Slow things down here for Bosco as he reloads. He's got 3 shotgun shells left with the M59, and that hatch should get watched, or at least the holes that are pre-opened by the Zofia with her breaching charges. The extra Habana holes that have been opened up should make things super easy here for Rogue, and Shuttle takes Bosco down as Rogue getting closer and closer to the win, and it's looking up. Maybe after today, they can maybe snowball this into a victory for next week. We'll see. Maybe Obey come back in this and upset. It's already match point, and we said Rogue need the win. Obey, even a tie, is enough to inch them a bit higher up because Noble lost against C9 today.
Yeah, so you got to take every point you can get as both of these teams. As we said, Rogue right now in a winning position. They're sitting on match point, and I mean, back upstairs, Obey is going to go, and Rogue has not looked like they've broken much of a sweat on either of these sites so far. So whether that's going to continue is anybody's guess, but that first site in particular on console office upstairs was just Rogue absolutely pulverizing Obey. If you recall, they repelled on the windows, they got a couple smokes out, they had the Candelas to blind Obey and keep them in place, essentially paralyzing the defense. Plant goes down, and then Rogue just waited and just simply won a fight in every single altercation that came up, 1v1 or 2v2, etc., in the post plant.
No, they just used the advantages that they had. Of course, it started off with those 2 kills that were held up and taken by Eclipse on the Zofia upstairs. Easy cleanup. On my end, I'm looking at what he's seeing, at least in Spectator, and I cannot see the head in the opposite side. So yes, in terms of comparing anybody, any normal player to this level of play, yeah, that's what separates the good players from the not-so-good players, and being able to spot those pixels is sometimes really all you need once you're this experienced, and once your droning is done correctly, because not only was it the Zofia doing the work and just the pure aim, but there was a drone that you saw coming in right in front of her before she went into the projector room, getting information, harvesting it, and then sending it back to be processed by the IGL to send it back to Eclipse as he moved in, set himself up for the 2K, and then moved in to take the whole round. But easily down on the outside, and Rogue taking their time for the attack.
And Rogue doing it different this time, similar to what we saw from Obey when they attack. They're going to go for admin first and foremost, so Rogue will forego the console office windows, which means that Obey will have to turn their attention into projector, which is when Bosco is playing in for the time being. And Rogue will just storm in through admin. Like we said, pretty typical here. You're not going to take a lot of time to invest in holding it. Most teams will decide to line up on the console side of things, keep bathroom and then yellow control in favor.
What I like is that they open up the hatch from admin, because it is a very good post. Oh, the snipe There you go. He'll take down one of the yokais. But that hatch being opened has, obviously, its reasoning, because you can hold off the rotations, any late game rotations from the defenders coming up the stairs through the chamber, just from the top floor without overexposing yourself. So it is something to keep in mind. And, you know, the late flank holds are definitely being prepared here by Rogue, but it seems like they very much favor the Ying play on Slash, and we'll see if that'll be successful again, as in their attack before on the opposite end of this site. It didn't really cause as much damage as you think it would.
Flashbang out.
No, not at all. And I mean, losing your yokai, that's a major blow to this team. Now keep in mind Maestro is off, so any kind of smoke push that comes in from Rogue, as those logic bombs will herald the push. The angle being held from easily all the way into connector. He's going to pick up a double kill on the Kens and Maman, and well, it looks to be almost all over but the crying. Sky's still playing below though, so at any point he can toss that C4 up. Slash just narrowly evading a toxic canister as the gas over top of the Ying, prone on the balcony outside, and the Jaeger will be spotted for just a second. Adam and Easily will come to blows, and neither can connect effectively. Easily will lose a chunk of his HP. Here come the smokes from the Dokkaebi shuttle. One tossed out. There goes the logic bomb.
Skies from below. Pasco upstairs with one. Can he connect with the shotgun? No, he'll go in for the knife, and Skies takes down Eclipse, and suddenly the tables have turned as Adam will get one, and the shotgun should be able to finish things off. No, Slash somehow still alive. There's 10 seconds left on the clock, but the damage is being done from below. Diffuser's outside as Adam comes in for the finisher on the Jaeger from Connector, and what in tarnation just happened?
Rogue got a little too ahead of themselves, and like I had even said, it's all over but the crying. All you got to do is keep Easily up on connector, holding that angle, have one or two people possibly rotate over to console, break that window, put pressure on Adam, who was playing just by the console office wall towards connector. Skies was down below. There's only one other member you need to deal with, and that's Bosco inside of that meeting hall over by projector. It was very confusing as to the way that Bosco was able to pick up those two immediate frags, push into the connector, or just at the top of Visa stairs rather, easily fell off of connector. It let Adam just continue to play in that position, who picked up that final frag. It was Rogue getting ahead of themselves, and the first defensive round victory for Obey means they're still very much in this. Now, we haven't seen what Obey can muster up on lobby. That's where they're going to go. They're not going to opt to go downstairs on garage, and I'm actually a little interested to see why that is. Now, if they win this round, they will either need to go to garage or over to Teller's Archives, which is the newest site that has been implemented over on the east side of the building.
Something tells me they're not going to go for the second.
Very likely, but we saw the first push on the console office from Rogue. I mean, albeit, Rogue decided to go through the console office windows, take connector, get the plant in there, whereas this time around Rogue went in through the admin take. Okay. But
10 seconds left.
the second time around, Obey looked better. A lot of it was Bosco's individual performance inside the lobby. He almost got the Ying as well, lowering Slash to very low HP. But if that keeps true, then you can go back to garage potentially, and you can do a better job and then push it to lobby with the game on the line. I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other, as they say. We'll see what they can do on lobby, but I'd imagine that their hold is probably going to look very similar. Admin is going to be very important for Rogue to take control of, and then they're going to need to take control of meeting over top of lobby. If Rogue can do that very quickly, they can break the back of Obey within the first 90 seconds and probably take this match.
Well, before we come to that conclusion, we'll see how Rogue set up for the attack. I guess they're going to go for the same top floor take early on before moving onto the site. Though in the meantime, it's Eclipse that comes in. Now, this is something we used to see in tandem with Hibana, and I think Super is just going to come in and open up the side of the... Yeah, there we go. Exactly it. He has the wall being open, and now he should be able to open up the side. As no, there's shots being fired from the back. What? They were all shot down. Okay. I don't know what the angle was, but was the hatch open that they could find through? No.
All right, well.
Am I blind?
It doesn't matter. They might have been playing on yellow stairs. Anyway, back into the action. That's okay, and look at that. It sounds like it's...
Yeah.
It sounds like it's just Skies playing inside, or It might even be the Jaeger's carbine. I mean, I could have sworn I heard Adam here play it, and now they're going to lose Adam. Speaking of, they opt to go for the other side of the bathroom, which is going to mean that Kenz is going to have to fall off of his position on that mirror window, and they essentially forfeit control. Bosco thinking of diving out on the balcony. That would be to his demise, as Slash is holding that angle. You've got one kill from Obey onto Eclipse, and now easily he's going to be able to take down Bosco. He gets caught looking super, eliminates my man, and man, Kenz and Skies will have to hold this together with plenty of time. Candelas and Logic Bombs still available for Rogue. Very difficult for Obey to be able to put this together.
The advantage for Obey is that they have the Nitro Cells, 2 of them, to use. But I wonder if Skies is looking for a run out, maybe taking down a Refuser Planter, but the Candelas will get thrown in. Kenz will find one that's easily out of play, so they take down the IQ that has done a decent chunk of damage in the game so far. The calls are already in from Shuttle, but Shuttle will get one onto Skies. Turning around, there's more angles to be held by Kenz as he downs one more. Still has to go through 2 players. All the pings are coming out from Kenz's teammates as T4 is thrown out to try and collect the kill, but will not connect. He's got to deal with close angles, but Slash will be the one to win the duel as the Ying will find the kill, and that's Rogue to win it out 6-3 and put themselves closer to Rio as things are all in their hands.
Very winnable in this matchup for Rogue. You gotta feel for Kenz there.
Oh yeah.
Coming in, stepping in, filling that hole, filling the need, finds himself in the pivotal round on match point in a 1v3. That's hard. That's very difficult to do. And it's going to give Rogue the victory. A very valiant effort from Kenz, though, overall. But man, what a tough spot to find yourself in. And Rogue will keep their playoff dreams alive. This is also Noble taking they can exhale now as they've taken a deep breath at the start of this matchup. You know, it's Obey playing EG next week. And like I said, you can speculate all you want. EG might conserve some strats, and it might give Obey an opportunity to pick up 3 points next week. And even if Noble wins 3 points next week, well, they're still going to finish in last. The only way that Noble doesn't get auto-relegated now is if they get 1 or 3 points and Obey gets 0 next week. That's what they're looking at. Obey must lose, and Noble must put 1 point on the board. It's not a given, but that's what we're looking at right now. As for Rogue, their destiny is very firmly in their hands. They beat Obey. It was a very close match, all things considered. A couple of those rounds were very puzzling on Rogue's end, but they were able to pull it through. A 6-3 victory is all it's going to take. Doesn't even need that final 10th round. And now Rogue is going to be going up against SK next week.
Yep.
And SK Gaming are very, very vulnerable for the time being. They've had a bit of a slow second half here. And I mean, Rogue has had a slower half as well. Don't get me wrong. But SK have not been as strong as they were in that first half. Let's bring up Ranger, the coach of Rogue, and say hello. How are you doing, man? Congratulations.
Good, thank you. Thank you.
Your playoff hopes are very much alive, and you can take a deep breath as well. But here's the question I want to ask. First round. You got a mute, you got a castle, and you got a mirror. They're downstairs. They're all singing Kumbaya around the campfire. And the site is upstairs on the second floor. There's a minute and a half left in the round. What is going on?
Yeah, people got pressured and ended up dropping, and we just kind of went for a bit of a retake there. Ended up working out. We had some clutch plays throughout the day. Obviously, Slash had the 1v2, but it was like he killed 4 in the 1v2 at the beginning, and that kind of gave us a ton of momentum. We knew like what map we were going to be going to pretty much based on their map pool and our bans. We're pretty sure it was going to be Consulate the entire week, so we put in some practice on it. We had a slower than expected start to the second half of the season, so we've been grinding a lot recently, trying to recover. And with the way the games went today, with EG winning against SK and SSG losing its Mouse, we're back in control of our own destiny. So with this win against Obey, it's all going to come down to the game against SK next week. So we're happy and looking forward to next week.
Yeah, that's a huge victory for you. And I mean, of course, you've been such a consistent team at the top for so long. There was a window there where the math seemed very, very unlikely.
Yeah.
And now that now that window's wide open, and it's going to be the one match to watch next week is definitely going to be yours versus SK. Now, looking at Obey, the Ken's choice was very interesting to have him in front of Benji. We remarked that we were never told if that was a deliberate choice or not, but it's as somebody who has had to step in for a player before as a coach, using your own experience, what compels? I know that yours, you had no choice, to be fair,
Yeah.
but how does a team have to play around that? And what did you notice from Obey's playstyle that changed today and that you had to adapt to mid-round that you necessarily weren't planning on?
It's interesting because I think I don't know what Obey's thought process was doing it. I don't know if they were trying to bring Ken's in, like, oh, maybe he'll bring just like some in-game leadership, being the coach in that regard. But like when I came in and filled in at DreamHack Austin, like that was originally my hope, was that like, oh, maybe I could just like help call a little bit and like stuff like that. But because like you don't have any professional playing experience and there's so much going on, just like hopping in like that, it's really overwhelming. So like when I stepped into Austin, like I didn't feel like I could. There was like maybe like one round that on Coastline that I remember like trying to like help call because everything went crazy. But outside of that, like it's pretty hard to like step in like that. There's just so much going on, so much stuff that you're not used to like try and be a vocal person. It was like surprisingly difficult. So I'd have to ask Ken's like how he thought it was, but that was something I remember that he might have struggled with.
And I mean, you dropped 12 frags on Coastline. So I mean, that definitely happens there. There is a stroke. There is a stroke of magic. So anyway, your playoff hopes still very much alive. As you put it, you're very much in control of your own destiny. A monstrous win for your team this week. Any nice things to say to your team or to the Rogue fans that have been tuning in?
I mean, to the team, obviously, like they did a great job, grinded really hard this week. I think we took our day off and ended up practicing on that day instead, so we didn't have a day off this week. Everyone stepped up, put in a ton of work, so like I'm really happy with the team for grinding this week, and to all the fans who've supported us through like the slow beginning to the second half of the season. Thank you, and we're really happy with where we're at now, controlling our own destiny.
We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.